to some white hat narratives, Trump and the military. We've been talking about this on the show. I've been let down by every politician I've ever gotten into, but I'm hoping for the best when it comes to Trump and everything going on. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a very difficult topic because, like you just said, we've all were hopeful. A lot of us got off the Trump train when he's doubled down on the vax. But I have a video somebody sent me, and it really helped a lot of people by pointing out that Trump had his hands tied. This is the narrative. Okay, I don't know if it's true or not. The reason he came out pro-vax was because they had locked us down to the point where we were months away from total lockdown and total tyranny. So the deep state would have trap would have closed on us.
All right, so you're getting into your whole theory. This is very much an Eddie Bravo theory that he screwed their plans up. Is this your theory?
Right. So in other words, according to the narrative, they had locked us down. They were saying that we have to lock down the world for 6 months to 12 months before we get a vax. And the reason he did what he did was by releasing the vax, Operation Warp Speed, he destroyed that narrative and and broke that spell and allowed the world to come out of being locked down.
Okay.
And he did. If you watch this video, I'll send you the link, and you can add it to the links below. He didn't mandate the vax, so he basically did everything he could. He's not God; he was all powerful, and he talked a lot about the chloroquine, hydrochloroquine, whatever that stuff is. He said that's what I took. And then he was very strong against mandating it. And he couldn't actually come out even till now and admit that he did it, because if he did, then they would blame him for all the side effects and all the deaths. So instead, he's brought in RFK, and they're going to go after all of the CEOs of these pharmaceutical industries. That's what appears to be happening. So let me just back up though, because this whole thing that we're being shown is hard to reconcile with they're a good guy. Yeah. So is there actually a struggle between good and evil? That's the first question that you've got to ask yourself if you're going to evaluate what you're being shown, because there's two fundamental thoughts or belief systems. One is there is actually a battle between good and evil in the geopolitical realm. The other school of thought is that it's completely controlled, and any people that are on the world stage as good actors are just part of the false light narrative. And either one has tons of support, and you have to decide first which one you believe in, because that's going to determine how you evaluate whatever evidence you're being shown.
Okay, so I've heard this before. I've heard this theory before. I'm not necessarily against it. There are things like the SPARS pandemic simulation, which lays out this is kind of following a game plan they have. You're not the only one to put out. They kind of hurried their timeline, which has caused them to have which has caused their plans to kind of just totally go off the tracks, and they're scrambling right now. I am somebody, I don't buy into that the elites are constantly in charge all the time, and that anything that they do, everything is going according to their plan. I don't believe that. I
don't either.
I just see in human life the running of any kind of system from high to bottom to top there's always some variable that doesn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out ever.
100%. Yep.
I mean, we could go to, putting on the Super Bowl, I'm sure there's things that don't work out the way they wanted it to. And maybe now because they've been doing it so many times, it's a fine-tuned machine, but I just feel like
you
control.
mean when they script the Super Bowl, you're saying it doesn't work out that way?
Johnny's getting very much into that right now. Johnny's very much into the scripting of sports, and they're going to lose everybody. They're going to lose everybody if they keep doing this. These guys just think we're going. I mean, like, if I was the NFL and the NBA, I would take a hard look at news who thought you were going to watch them no matter what they did. And now nobody's watching them at all. People, there are too many options in life to think that we will only watch the NFL on Sundays. There's too many things. There's too many options out there. We will find something else to do. I promise you that.
No, there is. With YouTube and everything, like you said, there's so many things now to do.
There's
Back
so
then,
many
there wasn't that
options.
many. Back then, you
And
got
kids
that.
just aren't into traditional sports watching the way.
Esports are huge now. Because
Yeah,
of that.
I'll just go watch someone play fake sports on the internet instead of watching real fake sports.
It's crazy.
On the television.
What if fake sports are realer than the real sports?
Yeah.
The results.
It seems to be going like that, right? So it's
crazy.
Right.
So my whole thing is like, you have people who we love on the show, Whitney Webb, who have a very black pill view of.
It's a dark pill, that one.
It's a dark pill of what's going on, and she was right. She said a lot of things right, without a doubt. We all worship. We all respect the Queen. This is nothing but love for Whitney Webb. This is not a anti-Whitney Webb discussion right here. But I do believe in energy. And I do believe the energy you put out is the energy you get back. And like there are rules to the universe in which God has set, right? The Klaus Schwab, all these guys at the World Economic Forum, all these lizard people, all them, they're not bigger than God, in my humble opinion. And the energy you put out is the energy you get back. God is love thy neighbor, help others, help God's children. If you're not doing that, the universe pushes back. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. People treat people like shit. Eventually, everything crumbles. It just does. Like, you can manifest to get to the top, but if you're not taking care of people, it goes away. I've seen it happen 100 times. I just seen it happen all the time. So why would they be any different? Why would Klaus Schwab be any different than, let's say, Carlos Mencia, right? Who like worked his way up to the top, to the pinnacle, and lost it all because he didn't treat people well. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I think you're onto something, but I don't know if it's necessarily at that level you have to treat people well as much as you have to plan well. I could see these plans, they're just
Yeah, but Johnny,
they can't imagine everything.
if we're in Switzerland making this plan, okay, as it goes all the way down to Dayton, Ohio, like there's a lot of levels there that thing's got to work out correctly, and you just get one guy who's got a job because he's an idiot.
Oh, no. That's the part I agree about. I'm just talking about Klaus Schwab doesn't have to be a good guy.
No. And,
Like,
Carlos Mencia wasn't a good guy.
That's what I'm saying. But Carlos Mencia, I don't think the value system is the same at Carlos Mencia's level as it is as Klaus Schwab's level. I mean, the level Klaus Schwab is at rewards being a reptilian evil fuck, versus.
But in Carlos Mencia's world, he was the Klaus Schwab.
No, I get what you're saying.
And that's why it crashes and burns. Obviously, it's not apples to apples, right? It's like, but,
I got
you're just trying to give an example, right? And so that's my whole thing. I don't feel that like at the so we'll see what happens. Like we've talked about, like Trump has a chance to be something that very few of us ever get to do, and that is be the greatest president of all time. If he plays his card right.
Very few.
Right? I mean, we've all been let down by presidents. Show me a president, I'll show you somebody who let me down.
Right.
He has a chance.
How long into it do you think you'd know he's not doing what he wants to do? A year in, 2 years in, where you're like, okay, this is it. He ain't doing what he said.
You'll start to know, I think, when we see these confirmations, how these confirmations go. If they drag it out and it takes forever and he loses some people that way, I could see that being an early sign.
Well, I mean, watch for the red dogs.
Yes. Yeah.
Watch for the red dogs, because the blue dogs are the ones who were purposely sent out to make it so Obama couldn't get any of his stuff done back when we thought Obama was a good guy, right? Yeah. When we thought he was the change guy.
Hope and change.
Right? And here comes the Blue Dogs going, I'm not going to put up with Obama's stuff. We're not just going to green light him. And they're like, that's done on purpose because it's meant to be gridlock. That anything for the people never really gets done. But anything for the Uniparty always gets done.
Yeah.
That's what it's meant to be. So you'll start seeing these red dogs coming out. We're not just co-signing on what Trump's doing. We're not going to do that. We're gonna push back. So I go in hoping he's a good guy. I have a lot of fear when everybody's like military's in charge. That scares me.
Yeah. Right. Because we're cheering him on. We're cheering him on to do that, to get all the illegals out. But that's exactly what the false light narrative would do, is they would get us to come on board, and then they would turn the Noahide laws on or whatever they're going to do to round up
there we go.
People like you, you pesky content creator. You got to go to the COVID camp. And Elon is even harder to deal with because Elon is a prop. There's no possible way that Elon is real because he's running Twitter.
Oh, interesting.
He's running Tesla, SpaceX. He's got a company called Solar City, which I know exists. It does solar. He's got a company called Hyperloop, which makes high-speed rail trains. He's got a company called The Boring Company, where he's making underground tunnels. He actually has one in L.A., where he gets to drive his car under all the traffic. He's got Starlink to send up 12,000 low-orbiting satellites. He's got Neuralink to brain chip us all. And then he's got the Model Pad phone, which is controlled by your brainwaves and powered by solar energy. And he's also somehow got time to go on all of these interviews like Joe Rogan. And every time I turn around, he's doing a podcast interview or a sitcom plot. He's on Saturday Night Live. He's ranked number 10 on some video game in the whole world.
Yeah,
imagine how much time that takes. And yet, this guy's going to step into this role to be the leader of the free world, vanquishing all this tyranny and waste. It's impossible. It can't be true.
So you say they're not real? Are you saying that they're LARPs? They're playing a role? Or are you saying they're like a holograph?
Well, I'm saying that there's a picture
hologram.
of an earlier picture of Elon, and it's not the same guy that we're being shown now.
Oh, interesting.
Clones?
And Vivek is the same. There's a picture of Vivek where his skin is like 2 shades darker than the guy that we're being shown now. So the question then becomes, who's controlling the show? Is it good guys or bad guys? And that brings me back to my 2 foundational questions that you have to settle. And Sam, you said it. I agree. I don't believe that the elites are all powerful. I think that there is actually a struggle, and there is a case to be made for the whole white hat narrative. I've been watching it for 7 years, kind of out of the corner of my eye. And, that's Q, the Good News Truthers, all those guys. I'm not condoning them or endorsing them, but, Charlie Ward, Mel K, Simon Parks, X22 Report, Jocko, Wano Savin, Benjamin Fulford. And they're what I call the Good News Truthers. Then you've got the idea that we're going to come under Nasara Gesera, which actually looks like it's possibly happening now, which is pretty incredible. I've now found evidence that there is a quantum financial system. You've got the whole medbed narrative, which, according to different people, they're installing medbeds.
You're yelling out a lot of terms that maybe I'm not all familiar with.
Okay.
Start with the Nasara. Roseanne. I just did Roseanne.
All right.
She brought that up.
Nasara is supposedly a law that was signed under duress by Clinton, but it's been kept secret, and it's being worked out in the world's governments, which will do the following. There'll be a debt jubilee because of illegal banking government activities. It'll abolish the IRS. It'll create a 14% flat sales tax, increase benefits to senior citizens, return to constitutional law, reinstate the title of nobility amendment, new elections within 120 days, election integrity monitoring. It'll create rainbow currency backed by precious metals, i.e. XRP. It'll abolish income tax, prohibit the sale of birth certificate as a property bond, initiate new U.S. Treasury banking. See, all these things are actually what these guys are promising they're going to do. So the white hat narrative has moved from people like, oh, Q is ridiculous. And no, I'm sorry, but what we're watching unfold is the white hat narrative on steroids.
Listen, man, we had the conversation. I don't want to get too much into the rosy stuff because we already talked about it, but I'm just going to be honest with you, man. It's just like, you can shit on Q all you want. I get it. It's very easy to do that. But I go, at the most simplest form, it is Operation Trust, which they got to tell you what's going on. Now, this whole narrative about, like, you know, we're in debt. Like, no, we're in debt to one group, which is the Federal Reserve. If we go, F you, guess what? We're not in debt anymore.
That's what the Icelandic bankers did. They arrested the bankers, and they gave the FU to the deep state, and they never paid back the debt.
I'm telling you, it's fake, funny money. All of it's not real.
China holds some debt, American debt.
Well, China be like, yeah, we're good too. I mean, hey, you don't owe debt either. Nobody owes debt.
No. The American government owes China money. What do you do with that because you need credit as a?
Well, we'll work with them. We'll work with them. We'll be like, we'll talk to you. How do we want to do it? But by the way, we're cool.
What do you think? What does it mean to you that regarding what you said about Elon Musk? What does it mean to you that Trump has allied himself with Elon?
It's a zoo. I mean, I watched these two guys just palling around. Elon's kind of giddy. He's kind of childlike, and and the fact that he's just all of a sudden like almost like running as president next to Trump. It's really bizarre. It's totally bizarre to me what we're watching. But I gotta thank God, because it's like where we were going was way worse. I mean, you know, drag queen story time in the libraries. The kids got porno in the libraries. I mean, it was going. We were hell on earth.
I'm with you, man.
We were heading down, baby. This is at least going in the right direction. Even if they're false light and they're Freemasons or reptilians, I don't really care. I'm just going to capitalize on the fact that, you know, they're going to wipe out the IRS. Let's just land on that one.
I mean,
no more income taxes.
I'm with you on that, dude. I'm totally with you on that. I mean, it's just crazy to me. And it's, I mean, like, here's the whole thing. You have to play a little game at first. That's my opinion. You have to get some of these people in these positions to buy some time. Listen, dude, if the train goes off the tracks, would I be surprised? Not at all. But you got to have hope, man. You got to go in there with some hope.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? You got to go, hey, man, this guy can change everything, or he could be the Antichrist. It could go either way, but I would prefer it to be hope. I mean, why live your life like that?
No, I agree.
Exactly. We're not naive. We're not like, we're not Trump supporters. We're just looking at the evidence that's being presented to us. And if you look at Elon and Vivek, who are fake, they're wearing masks, I understand, but what they're proposing to do is totally awesome.
Yes.
So it is possible.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want that?
Right. Those guys could be actually playing for a team of people that actually are good. You don't know that. See, here's the thing. The naysayer, the person that's hyper conspiratorial doesn't really know if Trump is a shill, because even the Trump we're looking at, there's several of them. In fact, if you look up the video where Trump just went to Elon's SpaceX to watch this latest launch, the latest fake launch, Trump wasn't even real. That guy was 6'1", and Elon is taller than him. And the mask is so bad he looks fake. So we're being shown a fake Trump. So how are you going to possibly have some proper evaluation of the geopolitical events when you're looking at actors?
I mean, dude, there's been weird Trumps at UFC fights, not tall enough.
Yeah.
But why would they be that sloppy, though? And then Rosie O'Donnell brought up the 45 through 47.
Yeah.
If it was Why does it say 45 and 47? Why does it go 45 through 47?
Where? I don't know.
On
his
whenever
hat
you
right
see
here.
it on the hat and stuff like that.
He has
Yeah.
it on his hat.
Yeah, everywhere. 25. Oh, right
Now,
there. Look,
right
see
there.
it?
there's pictures of JFK Jr. surfacing now. There you go. That's the fake Trump right there.
Typo. I mean,
Look, he's shorter
Typo,
than-
Johnny?
you
no.
know,
I mean,
and
the people who make hats aren't exactly geniuses. Maybe they don't know what a dash means. I don't know.
Yeah, but-
Maybe they don't have an ampersand. You know what I mean? That an ampersand would look kind of goofy right there, and there's no room to write and. That would look kind of silly. I mean, I'm just giving you plausible
I'm
explanations
telling
for
you,
why
I'm just.
the guy who made a hat didn't use an
Yeah,
ampersand
but
instead of a
Johnny,
dash.
Johnny, here's the thing.
What are you saying? He was running Biden? Is that what the suggestion is here? The implication that he was.
I'm not. I'm just saying what they're talking about.
Yes.
I'm not. I have
No, that's
I have no horse in the race. I'm just saying what they're talking, and it's very loud what they're talking about.
I think you can lose your mind looking for meaning in hats.
Okay,
Three
but
colors.
anyways, the point is this, Johnny. Something interesting is going on, and he is right. There are a lot of push to things that get rid of the IRS, dude. A book this fat, you gotta know what you're doing.
Ridiculous.
Get out of here, dude.
Your
back.
taxes should be one page.
It should be one page,
Yeah.
and it should be a percentage of what you made
It's ridiculous.
with write-offs. Hey, this is what you owe. Work down.
No, there should be no federal income tax.
No
Federal
income,
income
just
tax is
sales
illegal.
tax.
None!
It's illegal.
Get rid of it.
And there was a time when that was very heavily debated.
Listen.
Like that. Now it's just gone. It's like a
It's out of
it's a
control.
foregone conclusion
It's
that we
out
have
of control.
one. But
It's out of control. And you have these super rich kids whose daddy get them super tax accountants who are like, pay my taxes so that the Ukraine can have missiles. It's like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking
have
about.
you seen what they're doing? This idea that they're I can't remember who said it, but they're it might have been leaked, or it was like this kind of that someone recorded it surreptitiously, but it was this idea that they're throwing gold bars off the Titanic. Biden is to these environmental companies that like work to pursue like the carbon tax agenda and all that. The government right now is just raining money on these programs and organizations.
Yeah.
Because they're assuming it's about to get. That's what they're doing with Ukraine too.
Yeah.
But apparently the government right now is just. And the quote the guy said was, "It's throwing gold bars off the Titanic." They're just. I mean, it's horrible.
I
It's
mean,
horrible.
dude, this is a guy who's going out and they're just destroying our dollar the whole way. I mean, just destroying our dollar the whole way.
I mean, you see it with the Hunter Biden thing. You can tell Biden he doesn't give a fuck now. He's
Well,
like,
did you hear the news that this lawyer said that it actually could blow up in Biden's face?
how's that?
Well, because being what did he do? What did Biden give Hunter? He gave him
Immunity.
Pardon.
Pardon. Yeah.
a pardon, which gives him immunity, right?
Well, that's the debate. But yes, the idea is that he's immune now. Yeah.
Does not immune him to testifying and being interrogated. And the reason that what this lawyer says is that if he goes to plead the fifth, he can't do it because he can't incriminate himself because he's been absolved of these crimes.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah.
So he could actually, you're not incriminating yourself because you can't be charged.
It's a loophole. Yeah. Wow. I've never thought of that.
Wow. That's intense.
That's
is
intense.
Hey, I got a gift. I have a gift for your listeners.
Okay, we're in. We're
This is
listening.
really going to help people when we're trying to evaluate what's coming, because that's what we want to know as truthers. Understanding what's coming kind of lowers our anxiety. That's why we're on this massive search for understanding all these mysteries, right? If you guys have covered Tartaria and Satan's Little Season topic, there's a large growing population of believers and people that believe that we are actually in the period of time after the millennial reign.
Sorry, I'm not feeling sorry. Go on.
All right,
My apologies.
so Revelation 20, verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth. All right, so the evidence to support the fact that we are actually in that period of time is overwhelming, starting with the Bible.
Listen,
Revelation
I
chapter
brought this up
1.
to my good friend, and he was like, no. And I love him, so I didn't press on it. But I've had a lot of people hit me up and we've had like JT loves JC on here, and he talks about that all the time. That we may be in the little season right now.
Yep.
Coming to the end of it, please.
My point is this: if that's true, and I've embraced this because the evidence is overwhelming, is that now you have no eschatological timeline of what's coming. So in other words, if you believe that we're going into the tribulation, which is what it sort of looks like, then your paradigm is going to be that things are obviously going to get worse and worse, and you have no hope that there's anybody on a white horse coming or everything's going to get better. But if all of that's in the rear
that
view
white
mirror,
horse could be death. Am I right, everybody? That white horse.
Yeah.
Like, it could be
But
coming.
you know what I mean.
The rider of the white horse could be death. I know what you're talking about. I was just trying to be
all right, well, let's
funny.
say for a minute that we're correct in this. There is 1,000 years missing from the timeline. Tartaria is for sure. All these buildings, are unexplainable. The mud floods, the orphan trains, the insane asylums, all that empirical evidence. And then you have passages in the Bible where Jesus says, there are people standing here now that will still be alive when I return. And then Revelation chapter 1, every eye will see him, even those that pierced him. So what you have to do to try to get around that is to suggest that, well, it's not really saying the people that hung him on the cross, it's the state of Israel is what it means. And I'm like, okay, you got to twist the scripture to get there, but I'm not going there with you. So I have biblical proof that this is real, and I have empirical evidence. Okay, so let's just say it's true. What that means is there's nothing to stop us from going into a period of time of prosperity. Because you got as far as the Bible's concerned, there's nothing in the Bible other than this one statement about this period of time that'll be marked by deception. He's going to go deceive the nations, and he's going to be loose. So devil's running around, but that doesn't mean that prosperity isn't going to come in for the next 10 or 20 years. It's way more possible now. And so as a result, you can then factor that in to your geopolitical analysis. Because it's coloring your belief systems in the back of your mind big time. If you think the tribulation's right around the corner, you're going to be very skeptical and very negative.
You listen, man. There's something else about Trump when everybody's saying that the war in Ukraine's coming to an end, that World War III, he's trying to stop it. That's what they're saying. The other side, right?
Uh-huh.
How can't be all bad. Right? I mean, if we're gonna go with hope, he can't be all bad. I mean, keep your head in the swivel, like they say, keep your head in the swivel. Don't hope for the best, expect the worst, but pray for the best, right? And that's kind of how you gotta live your life. But I mean, so you're telling me it's gonna get darker, like worse than children being slaughtered in Gaza? Children being slaughtered in Yemen?
My argument against pushing back against that, I would say there have been times already that were much worse than that.
That's what I'm saying, but he's saying we could be coming out of that little season.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, if we're in Satan's little season and you're going to base some of what your belief is on what's going to happen next based on the Bible, if we're in Satan's little season, there's no map of bad stuff to come. It's only Satan's loosed a little while. And then you have some discussion about the camp of the saints and the battle of Gog and Magog. So that would be the only things that are on the eschatological timeline. But that doesn't preclude a period of prosperity and renaissance entering into this period of time we're in. It's certainly more possible than if we're on the doorstep of the tribulation.
Yeah.
So what we're watching unfold could actually be a renaissance. I've got a link to a website where you can now pre-order 0-point energy generators. There's no moving parts, no fuel. It just cranks out energy. It's 0-point energy.
What is
sales.
the website? What is is it on your website that takes it to somebody?
No, I got to find it. Hold on.
Have you previewed this tech? Do you have reason to believe it's genuine?
Oh, well, 0-point energy is...
No, but I mean this device itself,
I don't know. I saw it, and I went to the website, and it's there. Now I can't find it, of course.
Oh, I see. So you don't know the people behind it or anything?
No.
Eventually, they're
but,
not
you
going to
know-
be able to kill it. They can do whatever they can, as much as they can, to try to kill, free energy. It's coming.
They don't even want people using nuclear, which is.
I mean, I don't know.
There's a lot of demonization with nuclear
Yeah, and there shouldn't be.
done on purpose.
I agree.
Oh man, dude, it's gonna destroy everything. You're like, dude, if that's true, then Japan, we would have Godzilla by now, based on that nuclear leak.
Fukushima, yeah.
We would have. Do you guys hear about the thing and this could be BS too, that they say the animals are different by Chernobyl?
I did. The dogs, yeah, they said that they're experiencing rapid evolution, is what they called.
Dude, maybe that's where Godzilla comes from. That's, But here's the thing about Chernobyl.
You would love that, by the way. We should say. You would love it.
My favorite part about Chernobyl is we're constantly told that radiation for 1,000 years, and these animals are just walking around getting better, right? Yeah. Everyone else is in hazmat suits, cosplaying danger, while animals are plants are there. People, they're eating the plant. I mean, dude, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. And that's why Iran's we got weapons now. They're like, no, you don't. You're like, prove it. Prove it.
And it's funny. Israel's the complete opposite. They're like, we don't do nukes. What do you? For years, remember, they weren't even allowed to talk about it.
I mean, dude,
or they didn't talk about it. Rather.
It's crazy, bro.